Ready to roll?
Yeah, always, man.
What are they doing back there?
Well, our body from... Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah, all of it.
Hey! Hey! No noise! 2 seconds. All right, man, you gotta be quiet. Go eat something. All right. Yeah, no. Well, we're building a body because we've been racing just full contact here lately. Not
Full
Tennessee,
contact.
but Farmer City was full contact. I don't even know where we were at the week before was full contact. And
We're going to get to that.
yeah, I don't like to put bodies on because they're going to get ripped off, whether it's me ripping them off or them getting ripped off. I'm equal opportunist. It is what it is.
So you're in the trailer. Why did you move to the trailer? Before you're what, in like the shock room or something?
That was the office. My computer sits here all week long during the week. If anybody wants to break in here and steal my notebook, but I just didn't. When I did it last time and I moved over there, when you were like, "All right, we're wrapping it up," I was on like 1%. So I wanted to keep it plugged in just in case it got wild.
So we are live. It's been a couple weeks.
Why?
We've been doing I've been doing some things. You've been doing some things. You got it figured out here or what?
Me?
Yeah.
I haven't moved.
Okay. All right. So we got some topics that we're going to get into. Like I said, it's been 3 weeks since we've talked. You've been all around the world. Talladega in someone else's car, and then Farmer City, and then Tennessee, and finally pulled one off. So we'll get to that and discuss that. But it almost seems like years ago at this point. Had a little situation down there at Talladega in driving the 57, but Josh Putnam was he a menace? What was going on with that? Explain yourself. And it looked like you guys had a talk the next day in the pits, or explain the situation with Josh Putnam in the Hunt the Front series.
Yeah, I drove Matt Tiff's car at Talladega, which is not my normal car. Obviously, is a lot different, but just yeah, we were down there for 3 days. Talladega is really not one of my favorite places to begin with, and yeah, the heat race got a little wicked. I mean, the situation was simple. He was faster than me, but my job is to not let him just drive by me, and I was being as wide as I could be. Talladega is not known to be 8 lanes wide, and you know, he got into the back of me and kind of had me spun, and you know, he didn't do anything wrong. He got the end of the deal. It could have worked out to where I spun out and, you know, he got the position, but it just worked out to where I hooked him in the right rear and shot him off the racetrack or out of the way, and, you know, was able to maintain the spot or whatever. So it was, it wasn't, I've seen way worse, done way worse, been a part of way worse on both ends. And obviously he was upset. I mean, that's kind of what was, you know, he'd come up to me the next day and that's what he said. He was like, you know, basically he had his opinion, and which is fine. Everyone does. And like, I mean, I basically told him, I was like, look, you're not going to change my opinion. I'm not going to change yours. You got the end of the deal. If the situation happens again and, you know, we're going full contact at each other at that point, one of us is going to get a shitty end of it. Like, there's no winning in either part of it, but one of us is going to get a worse outcome than the other. So, and you know, he was like, obviously he was upset, but he was like, you know, this and that, and well, there's no explanation that's going to make it feel better. I just told him, look, this is the way I race. This is the way I'm always going to race, and I'm never going to change. No matter what takes place right here in this conversation, I'm not going to drive any easier around you or the next guy or the next guy. And, you know, he probably didn't see it quite that way. Like, he was upset because, you know, his car was faster than mine at the time being, which it happens. Like, it's called racing. It's not pull over and let the faster cars pass you. Like, you know, every race car driver in America, I'm sure on any given night, has been like, I'm the fastest car here. I just started last. Well, you know, sometimes you got to just reflect and be like, why am I back here? Why am I racing with this guy. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, you know, I've been into deals. I've given a lot of deals out to people, but you just have to be realistic with yourself and say, hey, listen, if I was that much faster than everybody, I would be on the pole by myself. I wouldn't be racing. I would just be out here winning, being faster than everybody. And, you know, it doesn't always play out like that. So, you know, I don't hate Josh Putnam for that reason. Like, you know, it is what it is. Like, we talked about it, and, you know, we kind of laid out what we thought, and we raced the next day, and he set quick time and was really good, and I was terrible. So, I mean, he showed me that day, I guess. So it is what it is, man. I don't get hung up on it. You know, they don't let you fight. They don't want you to do like that, which is good. You know, we're 2025, we're cultured people. So it just, you know, it was a bad day for him. Really wasn't ideal for me. And then the next day was a better day for him. And I just had a bad day. So yeah, it's nothing to be upset about, nothing to be vindicious about. Like, move on, race again. If he TKOs me at some point, I'd be like, maybe I had it coming. And, you know, in that heat of the moment, I might feel he's in the wrong. He might feel I'm in the wrong. But sometimes you got to just be like, hey, we're racing. You know, we're fortunate to do this. We don't have to scoop dogs all day long, so it could be worse.
So with that said, 57 car, you're a suitcase driver that weekend. You've done this a couple times, 604 Nationals at Holtec in December. You've jumped in some modified cars, but you had said you're not dragging your stuff to Talladega that weekend for Hunt the Front, but you had an opportunity. How'd that come together? What's it like getting into a car that's completely foreign? You feel like you're starting over, like it's not the normal gig. It's not your normal setup.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. Like, I am very hands-on. I do my shocks, you know, build bodies, basically make all the setup decisions on my personal car. So it's just it's refreshing to not have all that, you know, pressure. Like, oh, did I put enough turns in the right rear? Did I take enough out? Did I set it like this? But, you know, that kind of comes with a cost, because I don't really know what's right or wrong with that car, you know, to make it what I want to feel to be fast or make me feel fast. So it was just different. It was a change of pace for a day. You know, all of our stuff was fresh and ready to go when I got back. And it's just I don't know. It's different. I don't know that I would be successful doing that, like if I did that every weekend, but it's good to do it every now and then and just kind of feel something different, drive something different, have other people's opinions, because, you know, believe it or not, I'm probably not the smartest person in the world. Like, there's other people out there that have knowledge, like Brian Doherty, and, you know, the few people that I talk to for advice and things about race cars and how they work. And, you know, I like to experience that every now and again. It's just, it worked out perfect. It was, nothing to be upset about. You know, obviously we'd like to win, but our anybody's winning rate in racing is like probably about 10%, maybe 30 if you're really good. So it's just it just is what it is. You know, it's an experience. I'm fortunate to be able to race cars for a living, and, you know, if I don't win every night, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't make me a shit person because I can't win every single night. And at Talladega, and, you know, a lot of the places I go to, I just have kind of come to terms I suck at 50% of the places we go to.
When you go into a car like that, you know, completely foreign to, well, not completely foreign, but it's not your regular setup. Is there anything you learn from that situation?
Yeah, you always learn stuff. You learn what your car does different that you don't even realize. You just get so, I would say you get so like used to the habits, and you create habits driving your thing. Like, you know, you chase this certain feeling, and you're like, oh, my car's tight. Well, then I went and drove this car, and I was like, man, it feels good. It feels loose. I don't really know. And I get back in my car the next week, and I almost spent out practice night at Farmer City. So I'm like, okay, maybe my car is free. I just drive it tight. Or, you know, maybe I'm thinking about it all wrong, because I didn't know the ins and outs of the 57. I just drove it. So it helps you kind of take a step back and realize what's actually going on with what you sit in every day and what you're accustomed to and how you work on your stuff. So it's good. It is hard. I would say it'd be very hard. I don't know how a guy could race a Rocket one week, a MB Custom, a Longhorn, a sprint car. Like, that's very challenging. And someone that can do that and be successful is just a freak of nature, I guess, because I know that it definitely felt like I needed a practice night at Farmer City to even feel like I was in the right spot of the racetrack. Like I was just like, dude, I'm making terrible laps. And it's not the feel, it's just like, what am I doing? Like this car turns 2 foot sooner than my other one, or I hit the cushion and I don't want to carry the front end. I want to spin out. It's just it's something that once you get used to that feel, I think that's a lot of our racing is so close. Like you have a certain feel you want and you think, oh man, if I drove Ricky Thornton's car, Bobby Pierce's car, I'd win every night. Well, maybe you would, but it's also what they're comfortable with, and they can make decisions and not even realize they're doing it and be successful at that. So yeah, it's good. It kind of just brings you back to reality and say, okay, let's just back up and punt. Everything you get in is going to have a different feel, a different problem, a different, the steering's going to be different, the traction, the side bite's different. And you think, oh man, if I just went and got this car tomorrow, I'd win. Well, I don't think it really works like that. Like you have to be comfortable in what you're doing before you can just go and get the fastest car in the world.
So for a fan though, tell me about different chassis. So you're a layman, like you're a fan. You don't really know much about much other than you're a fan of watching cars, fast cars, late models. What's the difference between, what's a good explanation for the difference between the different chassis vendors out there? I mean, they're not the same, but why is that?
I don't know. I tried to figure that out because, a Longhorn obviously does something different than a Rocket. And a Longhorn obviously can win, but you have to be realistic and look and say, okay, when you have 90% of the field, are you going to win? You got a better odd. The easiest way to explain it is like my car that I race every day feels like it drives very straight. All 4 tires are in line. It's like driving your regular vehicle. Whereas a Longhorn felt like, which I've practiced them, and some of them don't feel like this, some of them do. And it's not right or wrong. It's just a different feel. It feels like the right rear tire is always outside of the right front tire. So imagine you're driving your personal vehicle in the snow and you just catch a little bit of ice and you're kind of crooked. That's what it feels like, even when you're going straight, turning, no matter what it does. It's just a very awkward feel for me because I've raced 10 years in these cars and I know what this car feels like in different conditions. It's hard for me to make good decisions because my habits is, I drive all 4 tires in line. Well, now this thing's a little bit crooked. Do I need to be crooked when I get to the corner? Do I need to try and be straighter? You don't really realize how much you just do things off of, muscle memory until you get in something foreign and you're like, holy smokes, this thing does crazy stuff. When really, if you drove it for 8 months, you never realize the difference. It's just how accustomed you are to muscle memory of what's going on with your day-to-day stuff.
With that said, is there a frustration also? Like you jump into something that's completely different. Is there a frustration in that? And then you get back into your car and again, back to muscle memory, but kind of relearning. Is there a negative to that? Or is there more positives to it? Jumping back and forth into other stuff, or even to learn what other people are doing.
I mean, it just is what it is. Like if you take it negatively, it could be negative, but I just took it as, hey, I wasn't going to race this weekend. I got to drive something else. I learned a couple things about the feel and some of the things that car does different, but it's not, I'm not like beating myself up over it and upset that I couldn't adapt that quick or, I don't look at it like that. I just look at it as I got to go do it. I feel like I learned from it. It made me appreciate my situation better is all it did. Cause I was like, okay, the things that I complain about and, about my car, maybe that's not really what I need to look at. Maybe I need to just take a step back and say, okay, how can I work on what I got to, make up in the areas that maybe those cars are a little bit better at times, because there's obviously a time and place where one or the other is better. So it's just it's a good experience. I mean, that's the best way to look at it. I don't want to run the Indy 500 and the Daytona and the Formula One race all in the same weeks. I'm not that guy, not on that deal, not going to be that guy. So it is what it is.
So the next week after that, you went to Farmer City, World Outlaws, Illini, and fifth place run and 15th place run. Practice, you were first, it says on your website. So talk about that. You jump back in your car, you went to Farmer City. Okay results, but what brought about that? Good, bad, otherwise.
Practice night was fast, mega cushion, what I've always felt like I strived in. The next night was pretty good. Just the track was super fast compared to normal Farmer City at times. I feel like so passing was a premium until the features. The features were really good. First night run fifth. The first night I feel like on 100 laps or 75, 60, whatever it would have been, I could have been a little bit better, but run fifth behind Shep. I don't even remember who won. Probably Bobby. No, Bobby had a flat or something. Dotson and them guys. So, yeah, the first night was top 5 World Outlaws race, no big deal. And then the next night, just had a qualified like complete dogs, missed the racetrack, like ran the absolute worst line possible. And then I was blowing up in the heat race and I run fifth. I started like ninth, or it was terrible. Started in the back, run fifth in the heat, and I was blowing up or smoking or whatever. So I pulled in and was like, holy, I don't know, this thing feels like it's blowing up. Something's wrong. Tried to kind of run through that. And the unfortunate part about not being a serious guy is I had to run the B main in that same car. Because like if I switch cars and start 18th in the B main in 10 laps, there's no way you make it. The track just wasn't racing enough. There's nobody. It's just not possible. So I had to, I was in a panic there for about 15 minutes, called my car owner, like, what do you want me to do? This motor's almost lapped out, blah, blah, blah. Was able to just, like, he was like, look, just try to make it. You got to make 10 laps, you make the race, whatever. So I made 10 laps, made the race, didn't hurt it any more than it already was. Had to switch cars, started dead last, like behind provisional cars and everything, which sucked. I passed, 15 cars or something like that. So it was just one caution, just wasn't my night. I would have liked to have started, when I won the B main, but I didn't. You move on and go from there. And, then we had a little bit of work to do that week, had changeable systems, motor and all that. And then we headed to Tennessee.
We'll get into racing here in a second. Other than racing donkeys, a little bit of social media fun, I guess you could say. What is this all about? I mean, can you tell me about the donkeys, the donkey show?
Yeah, so I went to, it's part of going to Tennessee. So we went to I-75 and Tazewell. I've never been to I-75, nor will I ever go back. Top one. That was.
Is that worse than Gondiclaw Speed?
They're neck and neck.
Wait. Is it worse than Cherokee?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Why, so let's back up on that. Why is it all-time worse? Tell me about that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I got a false reading because everyone's like, man, you can get it on early. You can do this. You can do that. And the first 4, I was in group 2, and the first 4 the first 8 cars that went out there, 4 of them blew out at the end of the racetrack. It was so like chalky and slick. And so I was like, okay, it's pretty slick. That's not what we were looking for, but whatever. And I went out and hot lapped, and I was absolutely dead last. Like, if there was 38, 40 cars there, I think I was 37th, and 3 of them didn't hot lap. So I was like, need to work on this thing. So worked on it, got ready to qualify, and proceeded to qualify dead last. Like, literally was absolutely the slowest car there again. And that was unfortunate. So then I was like, I backed in, and I just kind of had to come to Jesus. I was like, there's nothing I can do to this race car to fix it. Like, maybe it'll be racing this heat race. And it wasn't. It was the shape and just the amount of grip made it not racy. So everybody just kind of files in line in the bottom and then lays out. And, somebody might be mad, but I'm here to tell you that was not an exciting race by any means. And so, yeah, I started ninth, run ninth in my heat, and nosed straight into the trailer. And I was backing out, driving down the back straightaway as my B main was on the racetrack. my mom seen me on TV and was like, "Hey, I see you in this B main." I said, "Yeah," and I waved out of the Peterbilt as I was driving out of there because I was so bad and I was just frustrated. When you're that, basically, it was a 15.3 was fastest in hot laps, a 15.3 was fastest in qualifying, a 15.3 was fastest in the heat race, and a 15.3 was fastest in the B main and the features. So if I would have unloaded at a 15.3, it might have been fantastic, but I unloaded at a 16.0 and never went faster than a 16.0 in the 3 attempts on the racetrack I went out there. So I just knew that it was a lose-lose for me. So I dipped out of there before the B main and went to my buddy JC Crockett's shop, aka Roger Sellers' place. And we ate Applebee's and talked about it. And I was cussing myself as I was watching Paragon on my phone because Jason Jameson was throwing bombs, murdering the cushion, more of what I like to do. And I was leaving I-75 with negative $400. So I was really, really proud of myself for the decisions I had made that day. That's Daryl.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. So tell me about the donkeys. What was going on?
I've known Daryl for a lot of years. I used to go to that shop when Shannon Buckingham raced there. And yeah, I've always been a friend of Daryl the donkey, and I hadn't been there in probably 2 or 3 years. So I just decided to go hang out with him in the morning and talk about our race last night at I-75. Yeah, he's cool ass little mini donkey. He hauls at me like I got there, I don't know, midnight, and we went and ate, and we got back. I heat at him, and he was going crazy over there at about 1:30 in the morning. So he definitely remembered me and missed me, and it was good to see him. I like animals. I'm a big animal guy.
Did he give you any advice?
Yeah, don't go to I-75.
Oh boy. All right. So I-75, and things got better the next day. Go to Tazewell, the Ray Cook Reverend Ray Series, and you won. I mean, it's how many races you been into it this year?
32 is what they said on Dirt on Dirt.
32 races, and then you finally broke through and had yourself a victory at Tazewell. But not only did you have a victory there at the Taz, a little bit of celebration on the
John
track.
Morant. That's John Morant, man.
So yeah, felt good. What is it? 11th you started at Tazewell, and
yeah,
convincing win. So let's talk about Tazewell. Let's talk about victory, and now you got to be feeling good.
Everybody should go to Tazewell at least once in their life. Besides getting into the place in a rig, which is kind of sketchy, everything about it's just wild. Like, that's what I always tell people. Pits, like, kind of always makes for good racetracks. Like, you can park like 30 rigs in Tazewell, and it's just the way that it's just not a big pit area, and they're not level. You're in the mountains. Like, you could about a lot of that stuff, but the racetrack, I've been there. Hold on, let me turn it off. The racetrack, that was our air compressor. Sorry, we're not in tires. The racetrack's just fantastic. I mean, look at that thing. And they were all in the bottom when we started the feature. Like, they had it just wet enough to where the bottom was faster early, and the top was kind of like a crumbing lane that nobody really wanted to be in. And yeah, I started 11, so I had to go about as much as I could, as fast as I could, to try and like get spots. You know what I mean? Like, you can't ride in 11. You don't bank on people having flats and things like that. So it was it was an awesome race. I like Tazewell. I've been there. That's the 3rd time I've been there now, and I really enjoy it. Like, I don't know, it just is one of those places that I seem to be good at, and I'm happy when I go there, and I like everything about it. You know what I mean? I really do. Like, there's a line of fans there at 3:00 it's like 3,000 people deep waiting to get in this place. Like, it's just cool. You don't see like that. So it's a gym for sure. Like, you have to experience it to understand everything that's going on there. Like, where we parked our rig is where the grandstands are. There's 3 good spots right there. And it was like Marler, me. And like, there's people, I lost low gear. My transmission blew up right before I qualified. So I got pushed back, and people were like, just, saying crazy, hey man, what's going on? Can we get a picture? And I'm like neck deep in red dirt trying to change this transmission. And then we ran our heat race and the radiator got knocked out just, for whatever reason. And then I had to change the transmission. I like threw this thing in the trash can. I watched this guy look at it like, I wonder if I could scrap that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a wild place. And the fans are into it. That's what's cool. Like, we ran our race and they had a 100-lap enduro race, and I'm telling you, nobody left. Like, we ran our race and they all stayed and watched the 100-lap enduro race. They watched the street stocks. Like, they watched everything. So it's a cool ass place, and I really do enjoy going there. The people are nice. It's just certain places people really like, and that's one of the places I really like. People probably like I-75 that much. I don't.
So banking at Tazewell.
Insane.
Yeah,
A lot.
it's severe. You can't really see it on that video.
It doesn't do it justice.
Yeah,
Until you're there, you don't understand how much banking it is and how brave the guy on the grader is, first of all. The guy that grades this thing, out of control, because he has to like stand up on it like this because it's so leaned over that
right.
If you sat on it, you would just roll off of it. Like,
and then so the best way to see like the pitch of the track, the banking of the track, is to literally stand where they go in the infield and or up. Yeah, look from the infield, look up, but you can stand up top and look down, and literally you're like, if you're afraid of heights, it's going to be a problem. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. And then
it has no crown too. Another thing every racetrack should not have. There's no crown at the top. Like, it just steadily just keeps going until you're at the fence, which I do like that. I feel like that makes racetracks.
Is it because of the way that the grader operator just has to sit there and do it? It's just,
I think it's gravity, because dirt, like, you couldn't, if you made a crown there, you would have to try. Like, I think if it rains or anything, it just washes it to where it makes, I mean, imagine going up to a mountain and looking out the side. Like, you couldn't put a crown on it. So they do a good job. And like, they they had a little bit more water on it than maybe they had the first couple weeks. Cause I'd heard they're like, man, this place was rubbered last week. Well, rubber normally sucks. And it was far from rubbered. It was really good. Like, I've been there twice before this past weekend, and that's kind of how it was. And, I thought it was fantastic. I even blew the deck out a little bit, which is cool. Like, that means I was getting all I could get up there.
So old school. I mean, Tazewell's old school. Is there kind of an affinity for, it seems like some of the coolest tracks, best racing tracks are kind of the worst facilities?
Yeah. Well, it's because maybe, I don't know why that is, but I know the more they spend on paving the pits and putting badass concession stands, there's outliers. Like Vado Speedway, top-notch facility, really good racetrack. Like, they invest in both sides, which I feel like is a must. Yeah, they just, I mean, I guess some people get it. Like, they have a good thing. They've been around for 75 years. I mean, the place is packed. And I'm not dogging every racetrack. Cherokee's packed too. I just don't like Cherokee, but Cherokee is packed. You know what I mean? So obviously they're doing something right. Like, you don't have to have 100 cars if you get 8,000 people in the stands or whatever it holds. So Tazewell just has that aura around it where people like to go, people like to watch. The fans there are diehards for sure, and they're not gonna miss a race there. So I give it a 10 out of 10. I love it.
So 30 some races into the season, you finally pull off a win, a little bit of relief. I mean, were you thinking about planning that whole victory celebration? What was your mind like at that point? Had to be some kind of relief.
Yeah, I mean, the first one is always the hardest one to get of the year. Like, unfortunately, they took East Bay win. That was always like my first win of the year for the past like 7 years. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I like my crew guys, they were like, hey, look, like, that's what they said. We were riding home, and like Dale and Brandon were like on the front row. Like, we were kind of expecting you to run like third or something. We didn't think you'd get up there. And I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. Like, you can almost look at a lineup a lot of times and say, oh, well, Ricky and Bobby are on the front row. Like, third would be nice. Like, you don't say that, but that's just the truth of the matter. Like, you go to you go to I-75 and Corey Hedgecock and Ricky Weiss from the front row, there's a good chance they're going to run 1-2. Like, it's just, if you watch the history of what's going on there, that's kind of how it is. So it was, it was nice to win. I was definitely excited. It was 21 grand. Anything, any race that pays anything is cool, but 21,000 is good money. That was very nice, good for our team. And me and my buddy Ashton Winger, we always send each other TikToks of like dumb stuff, really. And he was telling me he was going to do the Ja Morant, throw the grenade. And I don't know, that one just seemed, it was the most recent and fresh one in my head. So I was like, well, I'll try it here. And, I think, people liked it. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Well, obviously, viral moments. Even if you're not winning, you were the show for Hunt the Front a couple weeks ago. And then, obviously, not only winning, but a little bit of celebration in Victory Lane that's going to get some social media love. But we're going to go to another topic. Hoosier Tire. New Hoosier Tire. In the mix, the 2.5 wider tire. What's your thoughts on that?
It's different. It's got holes drilled in it. Looks like a sprint car tire. I know Sheppy ran them all weekend and Illinois there. Iowa. He was in Iowa. So he ran them all weekend, and I was reading articles just like everyone else, kind of getting an update on it. And then at I-75, I know Hedgecock had one and he said quick time, but you know what? Someone called me this week and they were like, it's pretty simple if you really think about it. I said, what's that? He said, well, Bobby Pierce won 2 races and Ricky Thornton won a micro. So really, has that much changed with the tire? And I was like, you got a good point. Like, it's, the tire is going to change something. Like, if you change a variable in what we do, something will be different. Now, will it be better or worse? It's kind of tit for tat who the person is, but I don't think the tire is just going to turn somebody's whole entire program around. And at the same time, I don't think it's going to tank somebody's program. Like, it's what you have to run at some point. Like, obviously they might tweak on it between here and until they run out all the other stuff. But, we're in a situation where we run Hoosiers and that's what we run, and whatever they makes, what everybody's going to run. It's not, I try not to let it be like, oh man, this tire, I'm going to have to change everything about it. Like, obviously we've looked at it and cut them and ran them and tried to get a feel for it, but it's not like we're changing all 4 tires, and it's not changing the compound. It's not like we're running a 1300 or 1350, which was the best tire that was ever made in the history of racing. Since I've been racing, I'll say. It's not I don't think it's as big a deal to me as other people, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right about it, but you're going to have to run it. So if you're that concerned with it, you need to go test it and race it and say, oh man, this thing made my car tighter. Or this thing made me feel like I was going to flip over, which is good if you want more side bite. If you don't want to feel like you're going to flip over and you don't need side bite, well, you got to take some of that out of your car, because at some point that's the tire you have to run. So you got to work around it. It's a new variable in what we do, and it's no different than the chain rule. It's no different than, the body rules and all this stuff that has happened in the last 6-7 years. Like, I'm fortunate. I've been around since late models are pretty much 4-link, not shock in front, nothing crazy. Like, the rules themselves have been very similar. It's just the tweaks along the way that you have to work on and adapt around. And, the tire is the tire. Like, if it holds air and it's round and it says Hoosier on it, that's what we're going to work with. And there's nothing you can do to that. Like, you have to just say, oh man, I put this tire on, and nobody put the tire on and broke track record at anywhere this week. So obviously it wasn't like that much better. And Sheppy won a race at Tipton with it. I don't know what Bobby had for sure, but it's just, I don't think it's as big of a hoopla as people are making it out to be. But then again, I'm just me. I don't get hung up in all of it.
To throw a little bit of water on that fire, what's the reasoning for it? What's the reason to have the 2.5 now?
Because they can. I mean, it's simple. But, I mean, from Hoosier standpoint, the holes in the tire I don't think is a bad thing. Like, they've always made sprint car tires like that. And if you walk through the pit area this is just my opinion. I'm not a Hoosier guru, and I'm not in tight with them. I mean, I am. I like Jake Durham, Brian, all them guys, Shannon, but I mean, you hear these guys planing tires and routing tires and doing all this stuff, and people about tires all the time. I've never been that guy. I don't do that. But if you see a guy sitting there with a router and they're bitching, you read the articles, people bitching, oh, we have to have a tire guy and we shouldn't have groove, we shouldn't have sipe. Well, all right, well, now they got the holes drilled in the tire, so now what do you want? Like if they would sipe them and groove them, that'd be fantastic. Like I would be all about it. But could they do it? Probably. Are they going to? I don't know. But, a lot of people have bitched about, oh, we got to drill holes in these things because they blister. Well, they drilled the holes in them. So on top of everything that's going on, that's one part of it that nobody can about now. Now there's too many holes in them because they're all the way across, not in the blister blocks. It's just, I just think it's part of a business. Like if you have a business and you have a product, your product adapts and evolves over time. So maybe they felt like it was time to do something different, and you can't knock them for it. And if you're pissed off about it, well, go make your own tire and somehow get every dirt late model sanctioning body in America to get on board with it and give them some competition. But that's not my mindset, and I'm not in that realm to even do that. So,
well, speaking of, I mean, conspiracy theorists would be, this is an answer to American Racer. Your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, I think in the Northeast, I know American racers can compete, and I know down in East Tennessee, places like that, obviously race stuff, American racers, and it's competition. Isn't an answer to it? I don't know. In a Lucas or World Outlaw event, no, because you can't run American racers, so it's not that. And 99% of the people that local race around me, they buy used Hoosiers from me or whoever they are, or whatever. So I don't think that it's a money grab at that point. Like if American Racer made a tire that can compete with it, then we got a little bit better tire. Hey, I'm all for it. Like that's cool. You know what I mean? But out of all the races that get, all the pizzazz throughout the year, for the most part, you have to run Hoosiers. Like, so if you're going to go to Eldora and you run American Racers all year, that's fine. But, at some point you got to put Hoosiers on. And, if the options was wide open both ways, I don't think everybody in the country would have American Racers too, or Goodyears, or whatever the options were. Like, it's, once again, it just creates another variable. So if you want to have 8 different tires in your trailer because you think you need to do it, well, then that's what you think you need to do. But you don't have to buy into the conspiracy about it all. Ray has a good thing with what he does, and he allows Hoosiers or American Racers. And, I'm not upset about that. If the race was won at I-75 on American Racers, it would be what it would be. East Alabama's always kind of been wide open. You can go either way or the other. And, I think at the end of the day, if your car is good enough and you know what you're doing, I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying the guy that wins at the end of the night, he has a good idea of everything that's going on. And putting an American Racer or Hoosier would be no different than changing your right rear spring if you really know what you're talking about or what's going on. If it's that much better and you have to do it, then that's what everybody would do. But it's just a tool in your toolbox that you can use as you feel necessary when they allow it.
On this website of yours, tylerherb.com, you got both races listed. And so we need to clarify, what the hell are you doing this weekend?
I have no idea. There's a race in Talladega too, and the Lucas races, and I'm not a Talladega fan. I'm not a 5/8 horse mile horse racetrack fan. So really I'm watching the weather. The weather looks kind of iffy at everything, but I think Talladega, the weather's actually probably the most stable. But I don't know. I'm going to make that decision tomorrow when I'm eating lunch probably, because I don't know. I don't want to get rained on, but hindsight this week, I'd have much rather went to Paragon and then hauled ass to Tazewell. And they moved Paragon. I had already left when they moved Paragon to Friday, so I was like, well, it'd be stupid to turn around now, try I-75. Now, if I was ever in that situation again, I would know what I would have done different. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of watching the weather and seeing what seems to be the best. There's a possibility. Whatever is going to race is probably where we'll go, but I I'm holding. I mean, first pick would obviously be Brownstown Bull Ring in Peoria, but you don't always get what you want, so just have to wait and see. And I'm too dumb to just stay at home and not race if I don't get to go to
So
the place I want.
speaking of, like, you just don't quit. You just keep going every single weekend. Is there anything in you that just says, I mean, is it at a certain point, is the weather bad enough where you're just like, nah, I'm out. I'm good for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, if it was like 100% chance of rain at Georgetown, Hagerstown, Port, if it was 100% chance of rain at Brownstown, Bull Ring, Peoria, if it's 100% at Beckley, I already went to Talladega 2 weeks ago. It's not really my jam. Now, that's not to say I might not go. I really don't know. Like, I don't know. I know what I'd like to do, but I mean, ideally, if Brownstown raced and then I could haul ass to Beckley, I might do that. I don't know. I just kind of watching the weather and seeing what happens. That's the thing when you race in March, April, May. I mean, the weather is just so 50-50. You know, I looked at the weather for Tipton and Burlington, and it was like 70% chance. I called somebody at Tipton, like one of my buddies, and they were like, it's pouring here. And this was at noon. So I'm like, well, I don't need to go to Tipton. And then they ended up racing, and the race was good. And I was like, well, shit, I probably could have made it. You know, and then I looked at the weather at Burlington. Half them guys hauled ass to Paragon. And I'm like, well, I don't know, man, you know, whatever. And then where I went, it was sunny and 75, 2 days, no question. So I'm like, okay, just live with it and race. It's just kind of where we're at. It's not like it's a game. I really don't know. And if I was just geared up to go to Beckley only and in Beckley rain, then I'm not ready to do wherever. So I just work accordingly. That's the good thing about our tires. We have 2s, 3s, and 4s. So it's pretty simple. You just keep them mounted at all times, and wherever you want to go, that's where you go race.
So Beckley, have you ever been over there?
Twice.
And
Beckley's cool, same thing, shed area. You drive through like a campground to get there. The first year I went was probably the best. It was this same race, the USA 100 or whatever. Paid 20 grand, and it was 100 laps and massive cushion, like massive. But Zach Doan beats me in the bottom, like 5 to go, drives by me. I mean, I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And then I went back again, and I think JD beat me or somebody. I run second there both times I went, and like I actually really enjoyed it. Like it's a strange track. It's kind of banked, but like the straightaways are flat. Then it has a lot of banking in 1 and 2. And it can build a cushion. It has a little bit of a crown in 3 and 4, kind of narrow. Like I don't know, it's just a place that seems cool to me. Brownstown Bull Ring, of everything raced this weekend, Brownstown Bull Ring's by far my favorite. It's like top 5 track in the country for sure. Like that place always races good. So that would be my first pick without a doubt. And then that's kind of the kicker. Like Peoria, I won there last year, but I'm not like sold that Peoria is like my favorite place. I just like I know I ran good there, but if it wasn't for Brownstown, I don't even think it would be on the radar. And then I even looked like Richmond, Kentucky has $5 grand, but I'm like, I don't really want to go there for $5 grand. Like I've done good there before, but it's not first on my list. I don't know. It's just kind of tomorrow at lunch, we'll see how my food goes down, and that'll kind of determine what we end up doing.
so speaking of $5 grand, $8 grand, some of these other races, where do you draw the line? Like, where do you draw the line? Is it start money? Is it win money?
Win money. Straight up win money. Like last week, that was the other thing about I-75 and Tazewell. I was like, okay, you win both, that's 31 grand. So I sucked so bad the first night. I was like, oh my God, like I'm in the hole. Race team's in the hole. I should get fired. I'm an awful person. And then I'm like, okay, well, if best case scenario, I went at Tazewell, I'm like, that's more than if they went to Iowa, whoever went to Burlington and Tipton, like, you're not even going to make that much if you want all that. So I'm like, okay, well, Tazewell's still the best bet. And then Paragon was 10 grand. And I was like, oh, if I go to Paragon and then don't race anywhere else, it's still like, I don't know. I just like to give myself the best opportunity to bring in the most money for the race team. That kind of makes the most sense to me. So
at that
but
point,
if I know,
are you looking at what guys are going to certain races as well? And is that helping making the decision, or you're like, screw it, I'm just gonna? Because you said before, if Ricky and Bobby are there, you're racing for third. But is there some in that? Is there some in that? I think that there is. I think there is.
No, because Tazewell, like Dale's won Tazewell 2 years in a row. I knew Dale was going to be there. I-75, I've never been there, but I'm like, oh well, you know. And Hedgecock and Weiss and them guys, like they've won every race there in the last 2 years. So it wasn't like that. It's just that race had the most money paid out. The weather was the best. That's where we ended up. You know, like I know that Georgetown, Hagerstown, Port Royal is not my jam. So like it pays 20 and 25, I think. 70% chance of rain at one of them, I think Hagerstown, and it's like a million miles away. Like, not only am I going there knowing it's going to rain, I'm going there and I've won at Hagerstown, but I just don't like it. Like, it's just not my deal. So that's more what plays a role. I don't care who comes. Like, you know, I've gone to the biggest races, you know, 90% of the time. Like, I'm going to go to Eagle May 18th, no matter what. Like, I want to go there. So I invite all 5,000 people that have a dirt late model to show up. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to win. I'm just saying that's not what makes that decision. Like, there's certain places that I know for sure. Like, I'm going to go to Mississippi Thunder in 2 weeks. I'm going to run all of Illinois Speed Weeks, and there's going to be a ton of cars at both of them. But the weekends where it's not set in my head, like, hey, I'm going to go there. Like, yeah, you would look at the best case scenario. And if I don't know that Bobby was going to go, I really don't care. But yeah, when you see he's there, you're like, well, first, second, third, fourth, one of those spots is accounted for. So where do you fall in line? So yeah, maybe at some point, but I really don't look at it like that. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm going to run Summer Nationals because I know nobody's going to be there. Like, I hope everybody shows up. That would be fantastic, you know? But if they don't, it is what it is. Like, everyone has free will to go and do whatever they want. So it's not a matter of, oh, so-and-so is going to be there, so I'm not going. Like, I'm going to go to Eldora, and everybody that's ever won a race at Eldora is going to be there. And I'm not that guy, but I'm still going to go. And I'm going to try to win.
So before we go, you said top 5 tracks. You said Brownstown Bull Ring.
Absolutely.
Top 5 tracks. If you can name them off the top of your head, what's the top 5 right now?
Raciest racetracks or ones that I like? We'll just go with raciest that I think are the raciest that I like. Brownstown Bull Ring's obviously up there. Knoxville is still a place where you can start dead last and win if your car is the best. Knoxville definitely falls into that category. Another one would have to be, if we're going to go in the South, believe it or not, Alltech. Alltech is racy. Like, you can start last at Alltech if your car's really good and pass cars and win and do good. The other two, I would have to say, which I love the Midwest. I think they're all fantastic. Probably, well, they shut down I-80. They shut down East Bay. Those two were in there for sure. So you can fall in line. Eldora is one of the better racetracks. Like, the fastest car always wins at Eldora. Like, it's pretty much a given. So if your car is the fastest, you can start near the back and win. You can start up front and win. So I would put Eldora in there. And then another sleeper, not even a sleeper, but another really good one that can be really good a lot of the times. I don't know. The fifth one's up for grabs because it's a lot of them are dependent, but like them 4 right there, and 99.9% of the time when you pull in the pit gate, it's going to be racy and it's going to be a good race. So
what's your sleeper track? What's a track that's off the radar for most people? You know, doesn't have a sexy name, doesn't
Crystal Motor Speedway.
Yeah, in Michigan?
Crystal Motor Speedway was surprisingly racy. It was rained out in the bottom. The whole day leading up, same thing. It was a cluster. Like, they couldn't get the track graded. It was too wet. They went crazy. People were like, oh, it's never like this. And it had a monstrous cushion. And then the bottom was juiced. And it started off in the cushion. Then, for whatever reason, you could peel off this cushion and race good. That particular night when I was there, Crystal Motor Speedway was one of the, I think I started 11th that night and won too. It was like, this place is wild. Like, you know, you didn't expect it to be such a good race, and it turned out to be a really, really good race. And I'd never heard of the place till we went there with Heltor, and I was like, this place is crazy. And there's places that I suck at that are really racy too. I just don't, you know, keep those fresh in my memory because it's not like a place I really, really want to go, but a lot of those tracks in Nebraska, the Lucas swing when they go out there and the World Outlaws swing when they go to the, North Dakota, South Dakota, all them places right there. A lot of those places are really good and you just don't hear about them because you haven't been there but like nobody goes there, but once a year they might have a big race. Like Menominee. I raced in Menominee 2 years ago. That place has the potential to be like one of the raciest racetracks ever because it's so wide. The bottom is what I liked about that place is they prepped like the bottom and the top and the middle was dead slick and it never rubbered and never did anything. So like they were, and it's wide enough you could go 7 cars wide. It's just a very strange racetrack that made it a good racy racetrack because it really didn't matter where you started. Like when they went out there and prepped this top and the bottom, both lanes were equal, but you could rail the top really hard and then it would die, then the bottom would get good, and the bottom threw crumbs and the top got good again, and it just kind of bounced back and forth. And that's what I think makes a really good racetrack.
So speaking of merch, got any merch ideas? So we got that QR code up there that you can hit. Race Ranch. Yeah, depends on where you're sitting at. But what you got cooking? Any paint schemes? What's going on?
Yeah, we got good stuff. Eldora's going to be good. And then the second Eldora car will be really cool. I'm not going to tell you yet, but it's going to be fantastic. And yeah, it'll be exciting. The first one's kind of, someone's done it before, but it is what it is. It all goes together. But the second one will be really good. The World Wrap will be probably the coolest one I've ever done. Not because of history or anything else. I just think it's a really cool idea, and it'll be something fun and interactive that, if you have a child or you really like coloring, I think that you can have fun with it.
So speaking of Uncle T persona, you've been taking a lot of photos with kids and enjoying interacting with the kiddies at the racetrack. Kind of a different side. You've been known to be Terbo on the other side. It's which is kind of the heel, but the Uncle T is the face, as they would say in wrestling. Enjoy both, having a good time out there with hanging out with the kids and bringing them in the pits and having a good time.
Yeah, I got to see my buddy Lucas. He's like my biggest fan ever of all time. They're from Tennessee, and they came to I-75. When I left, he was like, sorry that our track sucks. I was like, your track doesn't suck. I just suck. Like, it's okay, dude. But he always brings me Skittles and gives me great advice. And he dances a lot, too. He was telling me about all his dances that he had planned out for whatever he's got going on. So, yeah, I like kids. I like interacting with fans that are nice and realistic, and even the ones that yell at me. But lately we haven't had any like crazy fan interactions. They've been pretty all good. So yeah, it's been fun, and obviously this week was more fun at Tazewell because we won. So it's a lot more exciting. Like I can tolerate people more when I'm in a better mood. Like sometimes I'm just in a bad mood and I might come off dickish, but I'm not. Sometimes I'm really focused. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm human. I have emotions and different personalities, I guess. I'm like the guy off Split. Like I have like 28 personalities, but most of them are pretty cool. There's 2 or 3 that nobody wants to be around, but that's for like a day like today when I'm trying to build a nose and we're just having a meltdown for no reason. But we'll get it done. It's all good.
Speaking of building noses, meltdowns, you guys were trying to work before this podcast started, so we're going to let you go here and do your thing. But what else you got for us before we end the podcast and the stream for all the people that are watching live?
Watch Righteous Gemstones. When you get a chance, go on HBO, pay the $10 to have HBO, and watch Righteous Gemstones. By far the best TV show in America right now.
Decision tomorrow on where you're going to race. Wherever you're going to race, it's probably on a streaming service, and people
probably on a streaming. Yeah, it'll be on a streaming service. And here, hold on, we got a text from a fan. Congratulate. No, I thought they were watching. Because normally I get people that'll text me silly stuff while I'm doing. Like Drake Troutman was trying to call me last time we were doing this to just mess it up. But, I don't know. I'm sure by the end of tomorrow at some point, maybe we'll know. If not, we are going to race this weekend. So just go to one of the 4 tracks that are racing this weekend. We'll be at one of them.
one of the four. The odds are 25% you're going to be there.
100% you'll hit us at one of them.
Perfect. We're going to end the stream.